We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
And what would that be?
I think Shaolin techniques should be available to all. So then, that's my idea for a new chamber. To teach the martial arts to the people. Anybody.
All right, welcome back to another episode of My 3 Cents. Welcome back, repeat listeners. Thank you for returning, and first-time listeners, welcome to the program, right? So what I do is basically get on when I want to speak my mind, speak my truth, and share something with the people. I know a lot of y'all are going through what we call the awakening, so I'm having a lot of private conversations with people about different energies that you are now wanting to try to understand because you know something is different, right? It's not just a good day or a bad day anymore. A lot of this stuff is a little bit more complex than that. So you got to know yourself. I always say self-mastery is the best mastery. Knowing yourself is the best thing you can know. So with that being said, today's episode I want to talk about the war. And if you're like me, you don't watch a lot of news, like mainstream news. If you do keep up with what's happening in the world, or if you trade in the stock market, you have to keep up with what's happening in the world, right? So if you didn't know, war was declared overnight. And this was from Vladimir Putin. This was Russia declaring war on the Ukraine. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of information on this, just real simple, so you could at least be able to hold a conversation with people that will, bring this stuff up, because it is very important to what's happening with everybody here. The prices of our goods. If you're a small business owner, like me, if you have a venture, any kind of entrepreneurship happening, you better be up to date with what's happening around the world, because it will affect you, right? It'll affect your business, it'll affect your money. So, because you're talking about banks, you're talking about, money being lended or not. It's all kind of stuff going on. Banks are actually closing people's accounts. There's a lot happening. So this war, first of all, let me get into the metaphysics of this. Because like I always say, everything in the seen is just a version of something in the unseen, right? So when we're talking about the war, we instantly bring up Mars. And this is why I knew that when Biden came into presidency, I knew that there was going to be a war, even though there hasn't been wars years and years and years before that. How did I know? Because one of the first things he came in talking about was going to Mars. Okay, so those of you with knowledge can already understand that Mars is what they call the war planet. All right, that's why it's an anagram for the word arms. And when you go to war, you're armed, correct? They're always asking you if you got your weapons, and they say your arms. Okay, so just understand the knowledge behind a lot of this stuff. So how is that important? Well, Mars is also Tuesday. Okay, remember, Sunday is the sun. Monday is moon day. Tuesday is actually Mars. So a very interesting thing you can do is go look back in history, go over time, and every single time a war was declared, it happened on a Tuesday. They always declare wars on Tuesday. Right? Check this stuff out. Because everything that happens has to fit some sort of calculation, or then it's said to be out of place, right? What is the difference between being out of place and in place? In place means you're in the position that was waiting for you to be in it. That is a calculation, okay? That's like an algorithm or a math problem, right? You gotta plug the right things in the right place to get the right answer. So this war was brought up on Tuesday by Biden. He comes on TV and says, this is when they released the information to say it's official. Russia is moving into what they call neutral areas of the Ukraine. Now, just follow the story and you'll know what's happening with this. Now, Russia is ran by Vladimir Putin. Now, a lot of people used to get on Trump because he had a type of relationship with Putin. People said it was a bromance, right? Whatever they said it was, we didn't go to war with anybody. They didn't go to war with anybody. And even if the guys were hanging out, these are what they call world leaders. It's in our best interest for these guys to be friends. Don't fall for stuff with the media where they're trying to paint people in a certain light because they're trying to either stop you from having a certain view or give you a certain view. It's one or the other, and that's it. We know that, right? So Vladimir Putin runs Russia, right? So Russia believes that the Ukraine is kind of theirs because they say it's something that developed from what was called the USSR. So if you don't know history, man, you gotta look into some of this stuff because as you're seeing now, by you not knowing history, you don't know what's happening now. So you have no clue how this stuff could affect you, but I'm gonna tell you. So he wants to go and reclaim this area. Now, he's doing it under the guise of saying that he wants to eradicate Nazis, okay? Because apparently the person that runs the Ukraine is of German lineage. So Putin is using that to say this guy's a Nazi and there's Nazi leadership and Nazi following. So this is what he's doing. And what you might not understand about that is that him declaring these things makes what he's doing totally legit and legal. And this might be hard to understand because you'll say, well, how is it legal to go and attack a place and kill people? If you're asking those kind of questions, you don't understand the country you live in and you don't understand how we operate, how they operate. You don't get it. Wars are about money, always. Always. You don't fight and kill people for what they believe in. You don't kill people for a violation of some sort. No, this is always about money. Always. Look up how much money it costs to go to war. Look that up. Look up how much money is made from war. Right? So with this situation, what he started doing, this is how I knew it was going to be a war, because he started doing this Monday, Tuesday. He started moving across the borders of Ukraine into areas that he said were neutral zones. So this was not to be perceived as a threat. Now, I already knew what was going to happen. Me and my daughter were talking about this on the way to school. I said, Yana, this is like a bully that, they want to fight a person. They want to fight them. The other person knows this. So what they do is walk extremely close to them, put their fists in their face. They're not touching them, right? They're not assaulting them at all, but they're just being really close to them and doing stuff to where you would say, why are you doing that? Obviously, you're trying to start something, right? So this was one of those situations. And by the time she was out of school, I said, they announced that they're officially calling this an act of war, okay? Now, this happened on Tuesday, where Biden goes up and says, we're sanctioning, because how do you know when a war starts? It starts when the sanctions start. Now, what is a sanction? You're going to hear these words if you do turn to these channels. But now, I implore you to go to the channels, listen. They're not going to say anything beyond what I'm telling you, and you should be able to grasp what they're talking about, right? Real easy. And then that way, you're learning something. At the end of the day, you're learning something, all right? So a sanction is when it's basically charging someone money for doing the wrong thing. So the way this world has been constructed energetically with commerce and laws and man's law and everything, right? He has this ability to put us in these legal boxes. And this is all acting. So it is all acting being done inside the legal box. And if you do something outside that legal box, guess what? You can still do it. Now, this is what I want you to see. These legal boxes really mean nothing, especially if you have money. And we all know that, right? We've seen people get off because they had enough defense. Where it could have been clear that they did something, but a loophole in the law allowed them to get off. Why? Because the law is just, it's an imperfect thing. And it's something that's put upon you by other people. Very strange. We should not accept these things in this way, right? We should have more control if there has to be laws. Let's start with the laws of neighborhoods, or let's start closer to home is my point, before we start these blanket laws on everyone, because apparently some people don't care and they're going to break the laws anyway. So what happens when they break the sanction and they say, well, you're doing something outside of NATO, you're doing something outside of, and if you're into comic books and stuff like that, this is just like the Justice League, right? You're doing something outside of the Justice League, where we have set up to where all these countries come together and say we are allies. What when I look at stuff like this, the first thing I think about is you're building all these allies. Well, who are all the enemies? Who are all the enemies? It's another one of those questions, just like they love to talk about the deficit, but they will never tell you who we owe, because it will only go back to the federal banks. It will only go back to the Federal Reserve. Funny thing about the Federal Reserve, has the word federal in it, but it is not government. Not a funny business. So they have broken sanction by moving in on the Ukraine. So essentially we're going to charge them money. Okay? That's it. That's all we're going to do. I'm going to tell you why. When we're dealing with Russia, and this is why when Trump was president, we didn't experience a lot of this stuff with the inflation and the gas and a lot of this, right? We did and we didn't. It's going to get a lot worse right now, because Russia is one of our main sources for energy. They don't teach you that when they're talking down on the relationships between the president and the president of another country or another corporation. Don't forget what this is. If you don't understand first that these are corporations, you'll never grasp the idea that war is about money. Can't be about anything else. This is business, right? Big business. Big booms, big guns, big pockets. So we go on TV Tuesday and say we're sanctioning you. Biden goes a step further. He says not only are we sanctioning the government over there, but we're going to sanction the elites' families. Now, what does this mean? Wait a minute. This sounds personal. The one thing about having somebody so-called lead you is that you got to go along with what he says. You guys are voting people to speak for your life. And you want to argue about who voted for who. You want to tell me who I should vote for and what we should do, when you can't even see the limitations that you have in the game. You have no control. So he says he's sanctioning the elites' families because they're profiting from these big moves. So that's like someone in another country, right? Sending the United States a message and saying, we're sanctioning you guys for something you did over there. And by the way, the richest people in your country will also pay extra because we feel like they're profiting from what you guys are doing. Because remember, this is a business. So this is why he's sanctioning their families, the elites' actual families. He said this. This is almost like some mafia movie stuff. He brought their families in. You never bring the families into it. Come on, right? So, it's a lot more going on behind the scenes with these wars. And because it's about business and you're wealthy in your country, that means that you're big in business. So you have to pay more. They're not going to tell you that that's what they mean, but I'm telling you that's why he's saying that. Because remember, these are two corporations fighting amongst other corporations and all this, right? It's always money. So, the Ukraine now. So, we already talked about how they announced on Tuesday because it's symbolic, right? It's very symbolic. So, what else has happened with this that has been extremely symbolic? Well, when the war actually started, and I'm talking about when the first missiles flew, the recorded time for this happening is 4 a.m. overnight. Vladimir Putin launched his first strikes and attacks at 4 a.m. You have to understand that these quote-unquote elites, these people have a type of knowledge that you're not privy to. They move according to certain energies. Now, just to make that sound really simple, that's no different than you going to work in the daytime, if that's when you're supposed to work, rather than going at night when you're not supposed to work. You have to move with certain energies around you. So in that example, I was using day and night, two energies that you don't control, but you go along with to dictate you properly doing things. You get what I'm saying? So they know how to do that with the energies of the realm. They're doing it at a higher level than you. So 4 a.m., we know that 4 represents the door. We know that when you wake up between 3 and 4, and all my spiritual people out there, which I mean you have tapped in to your spiritual, your more spiritual side, you know the symbology of 3 a.m., 4 a.m., right? This is the high energy hours. Some people say the witching hours. Some people say, devil stuff, ritual, whatever it is. Whatever you're into. The point is this. That is a high energetic time of the day. 3 to 4 a.m. Very powerful. So for a lot of you that wake up from 3 to 4 a.m., and I know some of you do if you're going through the activation or what some call the awakening, I know a lot of y'all are waking up from 3 to 4 in the morning because it's something that goes along with that. Now, that being said, what you're supposed to do is go ahead and get up. And you're supposed to be led to what to do next. Just follow what you're thinking. Don't counteract your own thoughts and go back to bed. So that's just a side note. If you are getting those 3, 4 a.m. wake ups, you're actually supposed to get up. Now, how do you know that this is real? Because at 3, 4 a.m. when you wake up, you're wide awake. Now, you're not waking up groggy like 7 or 6:30 a.m. You're waking up 3, 4 a.m. wide awake. So keep that in mind. I'm giving you a little hint or a tip. That has to do with your awakening, and it's a time you're being called to go ahead and get out of bed and get your day started. And I'm going to tell you why also is because the world, most of the country and most of your side of the country hasn't started their thing yet. So you're going to get up at a time that's more peaceful on a more grander scale. And you get up and meditate and do your stuff at a time where the earth is calm. Early morning vibrations, right? New sun coming up. Very important. I mean, this is actually when it's still dark, but you'll be awake for the rising of the sun. You'll be awake for the total transition. That's why that's such a powerful time, right? It's like being there for a breakthrough. It's no different. Your breakthrough is the sun rising, right? So, getting back to the war situation, the Tuesday, the 4 a.m., these are symbologies that are being used. So he's bombing the Ukraine. I went online, I looked at some Ukrainian videos where people are actually telling you what's happening, because you can't really trust the news over here. They're gonna downplay it. Because what's gonna happen to us from this situation, our gas is gonna go through the roof. How do I know this? Because I'm on the market every day. The only things that were green this morning were anything dealing with energy, petroleum, natural gas, and anything dealing with technology as far as weaponry, airplanes, military vehicles, anything like that was the only thing green this morning. Because the war is affecting the stock market. This is how it always goes. Why would the war affect the stock market? Because it's about money. Money has been diverted. This is about money and in the future of the condition of whatever country we're left in, right? So market kind of bounced back going towards the afternoon, but which I knew it would, because it's a money thing, right? What goes down has to come back up. If you're smart, you bought everything when it was in the red. It was in the deep red. You bought things, okay? That was the common sense thing to do. Gold and silver are also back up right now. So just a side note, keep your eye on gold and silver, because when wars are happening and the dollar starts to flex, you can rely on things like gold and silver. And remember, the dollar hasn't been backed by gold or silver in a very long time. So this is also something to keep in mind when you're talking about your future and investing in things, right? There are companies, UAS, there's different companies you can invest in that are gold and silver stocks, all right? So this will affect us as far as the gas, the inflation, the things in our store. And one thing people aren't thinking about is that you can almost guarantee that there'll be an influx of immigrants. Yes, immigrants. People that will claim sanctuary and come on over some kind of way. Right now, they're kind of stopping them from leaving. And from what I saw locally over there, a lot of people are still at home because they can't go anywhere. It's kind of somewhat restricted. Their movement is somewhat restricted. So when this is all said and done, though, I'd imagine you could expect a lot of Russian, or let's say Ukrainian immigrants coming over here to the United States. So that's another thing that we're not thinking about in advance with all this. Biden came on TV and said that he said himself that the gas was going to go up, but that was the only thing he mentioned. And he said that we have to realize that there is a price for freedom. And we have to be honest about that. Now, that's his quote. But I'm going to tell you how you were supposed to hear that. That there is a price for freedom, and we have to be honest about that. Because they're not being honest with the people about the quote-unquote price of freedom. You don't know what you're really going to pay for who you elected and for everything happening right now for reasons that have really nothing to do with you. Okay? Vladimir wants that land. He thinks it's his anyway. He doesn't care about paying a few fines, being sanctioned. What does it also mean to be sanctioned? Not only do you pay fines, but they kind of cut off who's allowed to do business with you, who's allowed to help you make profit. Nobody's supposed to help you make money right now. Here's the problem. Russia's rich. Vladimir has plenty of money. So if you tell me, this guy I really want to punch in the face, you say, well, if you punch that guy in the face, I'm going to charge you some money. I say, well, I'm rich and I don't care. See? I punch him in the face, I pay the fine. This is what's happening right now. Ukraine is getting punched in the face and we don't care. See, we're supposed to be this grand leader of a country, but when you really see how things are ran, I don't really want to claim being a part of it. I love the land here. I love the air here. I love the people. But the way things are structured and ran over us, I do not love. And when we can't speak up and speak our mind about this stuff, when we can't educate each other, check on each other, and say, hey, did you hear about what's happening? This is what's happening, and this is what it means. When we stop doing that, we're done. And they're already more than halfway having us stop doing that. There's almost no freedom of speech left. I go under the radar sometimes with this channel because I don't advertise it and I don't really push it. See, that's one of the keys. They'll let you talk a little bit if you don't really push it. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. But I do speak my truth. I give it to you all the time. That's why I tell y'all, listen to the episodes, because one day you might come to the channel and the episodes have been mysteriously erased. This has happened to me once before on this journey. But fortunately, I was still logged in on a certain computer and I was able to still see my episodes. But they would not let me log on my phone and the other devices I have been using. So it's just really funny how that happened. So we got immigrants, we got prices rising, we got people dying, and then we'll have people blaming America. Now, if you're wondering if Biden is going to send any military over there, he said he's not going to. But here's the messed up part about that. As I was watching Ukrainian news and different people doing their YouTubes and telling what's happening around the world, they're under the impression that the United States is working on it. You guys got to understand how we lie to people to keep things going. They are under the impression that the United States is working on it to help them. This is what's being said on their news. That the United States is working and teaming up with other countries to help them. So you got to say, what we're doing is going to other people and saying, hey, go over there and help them. They say, well, United States, why can't you go help them? Well, we can't really go against Russia like that out loud because we're kind of tied up money-wise when it comes to oil and gas, energy. But United States, why aren't you energy independent yet? Wasn't Trump working to really get you energy independent? Wasn't there a lot of progress made before Biden came into office? You see, Biden came in and shut down the pipeline, the oil pipeline. You got to look at this stuff. Things that by now would have made us much more energy independent, and also the prices of these things would have been a lot lower. But what you don't realize is that they would have made less money in the stock market. So as it is now, it's more valuable in the market and more expensive in the world. These are the kind of games they always play. This is normal. Unfortunately, this is normal. So there's reasons that we're not energy independent. Trump was working on it, Biden's not. He talks about solar and going green, but also agrees to rely on countries like Russia as our main source of energy. That's weird. Because what they're really doing is trying to keep the relationships intact. So they'll help the Ukraine from afar, but they cannot put soldiers and boots on the ground. Because if they do that, that tells Vladimir Putin that we ain't cool no more. And when that happens, all bets are off. He starts to gather his buddies and say, you know what? Since they cut the relationship, let's build our own thing. Go against them. This is happening on the world stage, and it is a big deal, but it's also very childish. And the way these grown people think, no different than kids in the schoolyard. You gotta let them fight because you're friends with both of them. That's what's happening right now. The Ukraine thinks we're going to jump in to help them. We're not. We'll help them from afar. If we send troops over there, that's a bad look. Look what happened with Saudi Arabia. Look what happened with Afghanistan. We know what happens dealing with this type of presidency when we're talking about sending troops, pulling troops. The timing is wrong. The strategies are off. Seems to be no thought behind it about the real people involved. A lot of my family's military. So I pay attention to this stuff because it affects all of us. So I hope I just caught somebody up on what's happening as far as Russia, Ukraine. And I also heard from the Ukraine that they were told on television today that, or yesterday, that what Vladimir Putin is doing is totally legal according to their constitution. According to their constitution. Him attacking that land is not doing anything quote unquote wrong. That's what a lot of people don't realize. And that's why the United States is letting him do it. And all we're going to do is charge money. And when you look up the word sanction, yeah, it does mean to charge someone for going too far. But it also means to give them permission. Think about that. So when you get on TV and you're saying, well, we're going to sanction and we're going to further the sanctions. Yeah, you're going to keep giving him permission by only charging money. Now, do I think we need to send our soldiers over to fight? No, I don't. But I think we need a better strategy at home for our energy so that we're not watching a fight, talking about the fight, and so that they're not videotaping us during their fight. We have nothing to do with it. But if you understand real politics and how this world is truly ran, unfortunately, we have everything to do with it. So I just wanted to get on here and give a little insight to this war situation. It's energetic, it's spiritual, it's physical. It's going to be a lot of lives lost. It's going to be, unfortunately, a lot of lives lost. Civilians are already dying from the bombs because he is spraying them. He's dropping bombs in the middle of town. Vladimir Putin came on TV and said, if anybody tries to do something about it, they'll get it too. And he's aiming that at the United States. This is movie drama in real life. So you watch our news, you see what we're saying, and you think about what I said. And watch how they're playing this. It's for money. How do you know? Because when all this is said and done, when people get killed and when they're done attacking these people, when they have conquered this land, right? When they have shifted their government, when they have taken control, what will our relationship be with Russia? Can anybody listening predict the future? I'm sure you can. What will our relationship be with Putin? Now remember, this is Biden's first year. We haven't even got through 1 year yet. The relationship will exist. Doesn't matter what he's doing. They don't care. He's sanctioned. You see? So you got to understand and understand these words, these terminologies. And you might get a little more interested in watching the news and watching when he gets up there and talks and then abruptly walks away when he's done reading the prompter. It's very strange. He just walks off. It's rude. It's weird. This is the leader acting very, very weird. You might see this as a form of entertainment when you start really watching them and not see it as boring. Because it does directly affect you. Affects your pockets. It's going to really affect you. So I think that was everything that I wanted to say about this war situation. It's just, it's a lot of funny business. Start paying attention. And there's one thing after another. Super Bowl, All-Star, war, this, that, the cold, the shots, the cure, the sickness. Everything's everywhere, right? So why are we getting hit back to back with stuff? Where's the break? Pay attention to what they're trying to do to you energetically with all this. Center yourself, prepare yourself, educate yourself, talk to people, stay in some type of loop. Don't just go on Clubhouse and listen to people argue. Don't go on these social networks and get triggered. Now you're vigorously typing or swiping. Don't do it. Get with some like-minded people and keep moving forward, man. That's what time it is right now. So I just want to get on here and drop a little bit of information about the war, man. It was just bothering me. I want to touch on it. I appreciate you supporters. You already know. People I've been talking to on the side, y'all keep hitting me up. I'm busy a lot. I know. My venture is doing things. Everything's happening. My daughter's doing great. It is what it is, right? Acceptance is a bigger part of life, people. Acceptance. So yeah, this has been another episode of My 3 Cents. I'll leave my email in the description as usual. You guys hit me up. I get back with you. You already know that. And, we could even phone conversate at some point and really get down to it and do some building. I'm with it, right? You got some new ideas. You got something I might be able to expound on or look into. Let me know. All right? So, this has been another episode of My 3 Cents. Remember, this is just my 3 cents. Take it or leave it. I'm offering it. Right? Until next time. Wholeness. 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 I wish you all wholeness. That's why I say that. I'm trying to project to you a sense of wholeness. Wholeness within yourself. All right? And gratitude. So until next time, guys. Wholeness and gratitude. I'm gone.